السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, the religion of Islam is a holistic way of life that considers the entire human experience, both internally and externally, by balancing the life of the Muslim between three of the most important relationships in their lives. And that is their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their relationship with God, their relationship with themselves, and their relationship with the people who they share their most intimate spaces with, i.e. their spouses, their mothers, fathers, children. And there is no doubt that the relationship that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the single most fundamental element of our human experience. After all, we are spiritual creatures having a physical experience, not physical beings having a spiritual experience. Our physical bodies are from this realm, but our souls are from another dimension. Our souls are from a different place, and therefore it requires a different type of stimulation. It requires a different type of connection, thus feeding the soul with the material luxuries of this life, while the soul is requesting a deeper spiritual experience here on earth, leaves one feeling empty and depleted despite having everything that the human being could ask for. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ومن أعرض عن ذكري فإن له معيشة ضنكا. And whoever turns away from my remembrance, فإن له معيشة ضنكا, he will have a life that is very narrow, very restricted. Your pleasures will be restricted to just the materialistic gains and pursuits that we spend much of our lives in pursuit of. You will have a life narrowed down, despite the fact that you have everything materialistically that one could ask for. There's still a void deep down inside because you're feeding the physical, but you are not feeding the spiritual. Your soul is requesting from you a deeper experience with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meanwhile, we're just going through the motions, the physical motions of salah, the physical motions of siyam, the physical motions of hajj. Some of us, we make hajj every single year. And with all due respect, while we make hajj every single year, what about us in our lives that has really changed when we come back from hajj? We weaken the experience. We water down the experience because we do it all the time. So it doesn't have the same impact on our lives and on our hearts as it does for somebody who waits 30 years, 40 years, 60 years to perform hajj one time. For them, that experience is everything. And for us, we just perform it every year. Not a big problem. I have the money. But the experience doesn't have the impact or the effect on you like someone who waits their entire lives just to perform hajj one time. So our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it provides us with the spiritual insight and the personal fortitude that gives our lives relevance and a sense of purpose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ كَمَنْ مَثَلُهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِنْهَا. Allah says, can he who was dead spiritually, فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ, and we gave him life, meaning the real life is your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not that I have a raise in my pay, my salary, or I've climbed the corporate ladder and I have somehow arrived, that I purchased my first home, that I've somehow arrived. The real life is the life that you have with God, not the life that you establish with your co-workers, not the life that you establish with your dunya. And that's not to downplay dunya, but it is to put it in its proper perspective. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, can he who was dead, to whom we gave life and a light, yamshi bihi fin nas, that while he can walk amongst men with honor and dignity, understanding your purpose, كَمَثَلُهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ, can he be like an individual who is steeped in the depths of his own ignorance, لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِنْهَا, for which he can never come out. It is through our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we realize that all of our worldly pursuits are just mere outlets provided by the one who holds the keys to all of our resources. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Razzaq. Allah says in the Quran, لَهُ مَقَالِيدُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. Allah says, to him belongs the keys to the heavens and the earth. لَهُ مَقَالِيدُ يعني مَفَاتِحِ. To him belongs the keys of the heavens and the earth. With him lies all of our resources, everything that we need. Which is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. And in the heavens is your provision and what you have been promised, meaning Jannah, paradise, is in the heavens, not on earth. The scholars of Tafsir explain this ayat. They say, يعني له مفاتيح السماوات والأرض يفتح منها على عبده على من يشاء من عباده ويمسكها عن من يحب من عباده. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to him belongs the keys, all of the resources of the heavens and the earth. And he opens those doors, those opportunities for those from amongst his servants whom he wills, and he closes those doors on those from amongst his servants whom he wills. This was the realization that was captured in the Quran and the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, watching his entire community, watching his village, his nation, worship idols and turn themselves over to idols, statues that can neither benefit them nor harm them. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, قال أفرأيتم ما كنتم تعبدون أنتم وآباؤكم الأقدمون فإنهم عدو لي إلا رب العالمين الذي خلقني فهو يهدين والذي هو يطعمني ويسقين وإذا مرضت فهو يشفين والذي يميتني ويحيين والذي أطمع أن يغفر لي خطيئتي يوم الدين. Listen to these words. These words came out of the mouth of a man who understands that everything that I need in this world is in the hands of the one who controls the entire world. You don't own me. I work for you, but your job is just an outlet for me to get what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already promised me. You don't control my provision. You don't control my life. He said, don't you see the idols that you worship besides Allah? أَنْتُمْ وَآبَاؤُكُمُ الْأَقْدَمُونَ. He's totally invalidating the idolatry that has covered generations of his people. You and your fathers of old, all of you are wrong. He said, your idols are enemies to me, إِلَّا رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ, except the one God that is only one deserving of worship. الَّذِي خَلَقَنِي فَهُوَ يَهْدِينِ. He is the one that created me, and he is the one that is going to guide me. Meaning he is my creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and so therefore I belong to him and him alone. As Allah says in the Quran, أَلَا لَهُ الْخَلْقُ وَالْأَمْرُ تَبَارَكَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Doesn't it belong to him, al-khalq, the creation, wal-amr, and the ability to command? Doesn't it all belong to Allah? Tabarakallahu Rabbul Alameen. Blessed be Allah Rabbul Alameen, Lord of all of the worlds. He created me, I belong to him. Say Yahdeen, and he will guide me. Meaning he will guide me through all of my trials and my tribulations and my challenges. As the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the Hadith al-Qudsi, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كُلُّكُمْ ضَالٌ إِلَّا مَنْ اهْتَدَيْتُ فَاسْتَهْدُونِي أَهْدِكُمْ. That all of my servants are astray. All of you are misguided, except those whom I guide. فَاسْتَهْدُونِي أَهْدِكُمْ. Seek your guidance from me, and I will guide you. All of you are astray. Many of us, we read a couple of books, and then we believe that we've arrived at true guidance. And I am the one on the haq. And as Imam Ahmed mentioned in his khutbah, Allahumma man yaz'amu annahu ala al-haq وهو يظن أنه على الحق وليس هو على الحق فارجعه إلى الحق حتى لا يضل من عبادك. Oh Allah, whoever from amongst us believes that he is on the truth. Not that he's on the truth, because truth is relevant. That is relative. That is your truth. That's what you believe that you are upon. But don't make your truth everybody else's truth. You believe that you are guided correctly. And so did the man who killed Ali ibn Abi Talib, Abdurrahman ibn Muljam. Memorized of the Quran. And he killed the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, believing himself to be right. Even after they caught him, he said, لا تقتلوني مرة واحدة, don't kill me all at once. قطعوا أطرافي شيئا فشيئا لأنظر جسدي يعذب في سبيل الله وهو يظن أنه على الحق. After they caught Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, he said, don't kill me all at once. Cut my body parts into pieces so I can see myself being punished في سبيل الله. يظن أنه على الحق. This is many of us today, self-delusional. You believe that you are on the haqq, but you don't have a right to impose that on everybody else. That's your haqq, your truth, not the truth. And so, Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, oh Allah, whoever from amongst us believes that he is on the truth, then guide him back to the truth so he does not lead any of your servants astray. Because this is a dangerous individual. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاسْتَهْدُونِي أَهْدِكُمْ. Seek your guidance from me, and I will guide you. Ibrahim said, this is my Lord, he created me, and he will guide me. Guide me through all of the trials and challenges in my life. He is my provider, while every other outlet is just a facilitation of what he has provided me with. Nothing more, nothing less. He is the one who cures me. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ. And then when I am sick, he is the one that is going to cure me. Cure me of all my ills, my spiritual ills, my mental ills, my psychological ills. As it was said to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu while he was on his deathbed, أَلَا نَدْعُ لَكَ طَبِيبًا. Should we not call you a doctor? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was on his deathbed. Some of the Sahaba came to him and said, أَلَا نَدْعُ لَكَ طَبِيبًا. Should we call you a doctor? And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he said, أَنَّ الطَّبِيبَ قَدْ رَآنِي. The doctor has already seen me. قِيلَ لَهُ وَمَا قَالَ لَكَ. And what did the doctor say to you? He said, أَنَّهُ قَالَ لِي أَنَا فَعَالُ لِمَا أُرِيدُ. The doctor has already seen me. And what he said to me is that I do what I will. He's referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you understand? He's referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The doctor has already seen me. قال عثمان بن عفان رضي الله عنه لعبد الله بن مسعود في مرضه ما تشتكي. Uthman ibn Affan, he said to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud while he was sick, ما تشتكي. What are you complaining about? What's wrong with you? What's bothering you? He's sick physically. And Uthman asked him, what's bothering you? And Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, Dunubi, my sins. Here he is sick physically, but he's concerned about his sins. What's wrong with you? What's bothering you? He said, my sins, Dunubi. قِيلَ فَمَا تَشْتَهِي. So what would you like? And he said, رَحْمَةَ رَبِّي. I would want nothing more than the mercy of my Lord. قِيلَ أَفَلَا نَدْعُ لَكَ طَبِيبًا. Should we call you a doctor to come see you? قَالَ الطَّبِيبُ أَمْرَضَنِي. He said, the doctor is the one that made me sick. Don't you get it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I wouldn't be sick if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not permit it. These were men and women who understood Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rightful place in their lives. Not just some abstract concepts that we regurgitate after reading out of a book or sitting in a lecture. Tawheed, brothers and sisters, it should be infused in every single aspect of our lives. Not just information, words, and concepts that we can regurgitate when it's convenient for us. This is our lives. And these men and women understood that. He said, he is the one that will give me life and take my life. Meaning he is the one who gave me life and therefore my life belongs to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran, قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ. Say, O Muhammad, to your companions, in the salat, my salat, وَنُسُكِي, and my sacrifices, وَمَحْيَايَ, and my life and my death, all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no partner in that whatsoever. هو الذي يحييني يميتني ويحيين. He is the one that gives me life, he gives me death. If he gives me life, then that means that my life belongs to him. And he is the one who gives me death. And therefore I submit to the time and place when my human experience is over. I don't question God about what he does. I don't question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about what he does. I don't question his wisdom. If it is my time, then who am I or who are you to question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why me? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam holding his son Ibrahim in his arms, 18 months old, watching his son take his last breaths, and he starts crying. His companion Abdurrahman ibn Auf turned to him and said, Anta ya Rasulullah, even you cry, O Messenger of Allah? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya Abdurrahman, this is mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I feel. Feelings are mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone who doesn't feel is someone who is dead. So all of this idea, this notion that, oh, I don't show emotion. The only thing that doesn't show emotion is something that is dead. Even plants and trees show emotion. Even animals show emotion. And here you are, full breathing human being with a soul inside of your body, and we have the audacity to say to our wives, I don't show emotion. I wasn't raised like that. The only thing that doesn't show emotion is something that is dead. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, إِنَّ الْعَيْنَ تَدْمَعُ وَالْقَلْبُ يَحْزَنُ وَالْلِسَانُ لَا تَقُولُ إِلَّا مَا يُرْضِي اللَّهِ. He said, the eyes water, the heart feels pain, but my tongue will never question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will never say something that is displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he is the only one that I hope, as Ibrahim said, he's the only one that I hope that will forgive me for my sins. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَن يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ. And who else is it that can forgive sins except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So I seek peace and the fact that Allah alone is a truer judge of me and my faults and my mistakes than anybody else. True exoneration, brothers and sisters, is the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the forgiveness of other human beings. Human beings sometimes forgive with a bias. Because you're my son, because you're my daughter, because you're my wife, you're my husband, you're my mother, you're my father. We forgive because there's sometimes a bias attached to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives because he sees the entire picture. Human beings are limited in their ability to see the whole picture. So they judge according to what they see. They judge according to the particular page or the particular chapter of your life that they are on, not realizing that you are an entire book. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges by the book, not by the page or the chapter. When Umar anhu said about Hatib ibn Abi Balta'a, when he sent a letter to his family in Mecca, informing them about the coming of the Prophet ﷺ to Mecca, Allah informed the Prophet ﷺ of what happened, and he sent some of the Sahaba to retrieve the letter before it reached Mecca. When the Prophet ﷺ opened the letter, there was Hatib's signature at the bottom of the letter. When the Prophet ﷺ approached Hatib about what he did, Hatib explained that I didn't do it out of my love for the disbelievers. I didn't do it nifaqan, I didn't do it out of nifaq, out of hypocrisy. Umar was still stuck on the page or the chapter. He says to the Prophet ﷺ, Da'ni ya Rasulullah, adrib unuq hadha munafiq. Leave me, O Messenger of Allah, to strike the neck of that hypocrite. Judged him by one single incident. And the Prophet ﷺ said, La ya Umar. No, Umar. إنه قد شهد بدرا. He participated in the battle of Badr. أما سمعت ما قال الله في أهل بدر افعلوا ما شئتم قد غفرت لكم. Then you hear what Allah said about those who participated in the battle of Badr. Do as you please, I have forgiven you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges you by your whole entire book, not by the page or by the chapter that you are on. And this is unfortunately something that is a struggle for human beings, which is why true exoneration comes from knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave you, even if the entire world refuses to forgive you. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-azim. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-azim. Wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bima ja'a fihi min al-ayati wa dhikri al-hakim. أقول ما تسمعون أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله العلي الجبار غافر الذنب وقابل التوب الشديد العقاب وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. The second most important relationship in our lives is our relationship with ourselves. This concept is reinforced all throughout the Quran by the many texts that encourage the Muslim to be responsible and to be spiritually autonomous with his or her journey throughout this entire human experience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَكُلُّ إِنسَانٍ أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرَهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ وَنُخْرِجُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ كِتَابًا يَلْقَاهُ مَنشُورًا اقرأ كتابك كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا من اهتدى فإنما يهتدي لنفسه ومن ضل فإنما يضل عليها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in every human being, we have tied his fate to his own neck. أَلْزَمْنَاهُ طَائِرَهُ فِي عُنُقِهِ. Every human being, we have fastened his fate to his own neck. You are responsible for where you end up. You are autonomous spiritually for your journey in this life. Then Allah says, from the day of judgment, we will bring out for him a book, the same book that Allah is going to judge you by. And then we will say to him, اقرأ كتابك. Read your book. كفى بنفسك اليوم عليك حسيبا. Today, you are a proof against your own self. You did this to you. You can't blame Shaitan. You can't blame this one, your Emaan. You can't blame your sheikh. You can't blame your husband. You can't blame your children. You can't blame your parents. You did this to you. Read your book. كَفَى بِنَفْسِكَ الْيَوْمَ عَلَيْكَ حَسِيبًا. Today you are proof against your own self. مَنِ اهْتَدَى فَإِنَّمَا يَهْتَدِي لِنَفْسِهِ. Whoever seeks to be guided, he does so for the benefit of his own soul. وَمَنْ ضَلَّ فَإِنَّمَا يُضِلُّ عَلَيْهَا. And whoever goes astray, then he goes astray to the detriment of his own soul. If you know what your journey, if you know that your journey is your responsibility, then you will take more care and pride in the experience. All of what you invest in your journey will be self-initiated and greatly appreciated in the end. As the Prophet ﷺ said, الْمُؤْمِنُ الْقَوِيُّ خَيْرٌ وَأَحَبُّ إِلَى اللَّهِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِ الضَّعِيفِ وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله ولا تعجز وإن أصابك شيء فلا تقل لو أني فعلت لكان كذا وكذا بل قل قدر الله وما شاء فعله فإن اللو تفتح عمل الشيطان. The Prophet ﷺ said that the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the weak believer. وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ, but in both of them is good because they're both believers. Like they are not the same. Those who maintain self-control and discipline in this life, guard their tongue, guard their private, are not like those who give in to themselves, give in to their every whim and desire. ثُمَّ يَتَمَنَّى عَلَى اللَّهِ الْأَمَانِ, and then Yawm al-Qiyamah you desire hope, this false hope for Allah's mercy. They're not the same. He said, be diligent about what is beneficial to you and seek the assistance of Allah and don't render yourselves incapable. And if something befalls you, some calamity befalls you, then don't say, if I would have done this, this wouldn't have happened. Because this type of if, it is dismissive of the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you say if for something that you could not have avoided, it's almost saying that if you would have taken a different action, you would have gotten a different result. And there's nobody that can guarantee you that. What is meant for you will never miss you. What hit you was never going to miss you. ما أصابك لم يكن يخطئك وما أخطأك لم يكن يصيبك. What hit you was never going to miss you, and what missed you was never going to hit you anyway. But don't say if, because if opens up the door for shaitan. The Prophet ﷺ instructed us to tread this path of Islam, our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with Islam, as we are imperfect people trying to have a relationship with a perfect religion. We are imperfect by nature, but we are trying to have a perfect relationship with a perfect religion. And that requires a journey of struggle with ourselves, understanding that the path is arduous and we have human limitations. And all of these things become a challenge for us. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّ هَذَا الدِّينَ مَتِينٌ يَعْنِي الشَّدِيدٌ. This religion is very challenging, can be overwhelming. He said, فَأَوْغَلُ فِيهِ بِالرِّفْقِ. So, traverse this path of Islam, بالرِّفْقِ, with gentleness. Don't try to do everything. You're going to burn yourself out. He said, وَلَا تُبْغِضُوا إِلَىٰ أَنفُسِكُمْ عِبَادَةُ اللَّهِ. Do not make yourselves hate worshiping Allah. And for some of us, we've done that. We've already reached that. We've already reached that stage where salat is distasteful. It's a waste of time. Fasting just takes me away from enjoying my life. An infringement on my happiness. Salat is just an infringement on my 24 hours. Many of us are already there. He said, do not make yourselves hate worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And another hadith, he said, إِنَّ هَذَا الدِّينِ يُسْرٌ وَلَنْ يَشَادِ الدِّينَ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا غَلَبَهُ. That this deen is easy. This religion is easy. If you take it shay'in for shay'in, one thing after another, perfect one thing and then move on to the next. We study trying to do everything, looking for, this great spiritual experience. And the Prophet ﷺ said the most beloved deeds to Allah, the most beloved deeds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are those deeds that are done with continuity, even if they're small. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't care about how great your deeds are, but that the deed is done correctly and the deed is done with sincerity. That simple. We overcomplicate the religion for no reason other than, trying to overcompensate for our own insecurities. We all sin. Ask Allah for forgiveness. But you don't have to go all the way out of your way to do something great, memorable deed, so that in hopes that it will forgive you for this or, you'll be forgiven for that. Something small, but continuous. The Prophet ﷺ heard Abu Bakr's, Bilal's footsteps in Jannah before his own. And he came to Bilal and said, what is it about you that I hear your footsteps in Jannah before my own? He said, nothing, O Messenger of Allah, other than the fact that when I make wudu, I see that it is incumbent upon me to pray 2 rak'ah every single time I make wudu. And the Prophet ﷺ said, فَبِهِمَا, and it is because of those 2 rak'ah that I hear your footsteps in Jannah before my own. Something as small, as making 2 rak'ah every single time you make wudu. Something, but it's continuous. Consistency. Because consistency shows that you are genuine in your approach. To do something now and then stop doing it, were you really serious? Which is why the Prophet ﷺ told Mu'adh, لا تكونوا مثل فلان كان يقوم الليل ثم تركها. Do not be like so-and-so. He used to get up at night and pray and then he stopped. He used to get up at night and pray and then he stopped. There was no continuity, no consistency. So taking it, with ourselves. As human beings, sometimes we overestimate ourselves in pursuit of what we believe is the ultimate experience. And in doing so, we end up minoring in the major, majoring in the minor. In addition, we underestimate our own human weakness. As Allah says in the Quran, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا, that the human being was created ضَعِيفًا. And if you notice here in the ayat, for those of you who understand the Arabic language, there's no alif wa lam here. He left it indefinite, nakira. And that is to point to the fact that there are more than just one weakness. We have a plethora of weaknesses. A plethora of weaknesses. Physically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically. And with all of those weaknesses, part of the weaknesses that we have is our inability to resist temptation. The temptation that sometimes appeals to our lower animalistic side. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. That indeed the soul naturally inclines towards evil. So we have an inclination towards doing what is haram. And as Sufyan al-Thawri, rahimahullah ta'ala, the great scholar of hadith, he said, مَا عَلَجْتُ شَيْءٍ أَشَدَّ عَلَيَّ مِن نَفْسِي مَرَّةٍ لِي وَمَرَّةٍ عَلَيَّ. I have never challenged, I have never tried to combat something that was more difficult for me than my own nafs, my own desires. Sometimes it gets the best of me, and sometimes I get the best of it. Sometimes it wins, sometimes I win. So as a result, we are encouraged to be mindful of our weakness and not to ignore it under the guise of being forgiven, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all forgiving, most merciful. He said, brother, ittaqillah, fear Allah, be mindful of Allah. Allahu ghafurur rahim. Naam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ghafurur rahim, wa ana ibadahu adabun alim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving and merciful, but his punishment is severe. Don't forget that. Ya ayyuha al-insanu ma gharraka bi rabbik. What has deceived you about the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of your Lord? Don't take Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's kindness for weakness. Allah extending to you mercy is for you to get yourself together. Not for you to continue sinning over and over again until He pulls the rug from up under you. Give you an opportunity to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in ending, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave us the spiritual formula or the blueprint for the relationship that we should have with ourselves until we transition from this life into the next. As he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, ittaqi Allah haythuma kunt, wa atbi as-sayyi'a hasanatan tamhuha, wa khaliq an-nas bi khuluqin hasan. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be aware of Allah, be conscious of Allah, revere Allah no matter where you may be. Not just in the masjid. Be aware of Allah no matter where you may be. That's the highest level of our deen. As the Prophet ﷺ said, "And ta'bud Allah ka'annaka tarahu fa in lam takun tarahu fa innahu yarak." To serve Allah as if you can see Him, and even though you know you can't see Him, you know full well that He sees you. It's the highest level of our deen. Ittaqillah haythuma kunt. Be aware of Allah. Revere the limits that have been set by Allah, no matter where you are. Follow up a bad deed with a good deed and it'll wipe it away. That's your responsibility. That is my responsibility. To constantly keep our slate clean. Follow up a bad deed with a good deed and it'll wipe it away. And treat people with good character. And if you pay attention to this hadith points to the 3 most important areas of our lives. Our relationship with Allah, our relationship with ourselves. وَأَتْبِعِ الْحَسَنَةَ سَيِّئَةً حَسَنَةً تَمْحُوهَا. Follow up a bad deed with a good deed and wipe it away. Because this points to the fact that you are aware of your sins, you're conscious of the wrong that you do, and you make an effort to correct the wrongs that you do. That's your relationship with yourself. وَخَالِقِ النَّاسِ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ. And treat people with good character. That is your relationship with others. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we understand this concept. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives us for any shortcomings that we've had in these three areas of our lives. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He remove the veil from our eyes and allow us to see the importance of these three areas in our lives. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا وَإِن لَّمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على عبدك ورسولك محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة. الله أكبر.